This review of Rockman X Complete Works may contain spoilers and coarse language. If neither of those bother you, then have fun watching and enjoying this review. So one of the craziest hidden-under-the-nose releases of Mega Man was the original Rockman Complete Works series on the PS1. But what a lot of people didn't realize is that the X games also had two releases of their own. That's right, Mega Man X1 and Mega Man X2 were both ported to the PS1 under the Rockman X Complete Works banner, meaning that Capcom was ready to keep up with everyone in general. But that, of course, raises the question. Was this just some lazy cash grab to write off the Complete Works success, or is it a genuinely refined experience? Honestly, who fucking knows? I don't even know. Actually, I do, and it's very easy for us to find out. So let's just jump right into the story and figure out if Rockman X Complete Works is worth your time. Man, the story to Mega Man X is really something else. X is a super advanced robot created by Dr. Light before his death. He was discovered by archaeologist-turned-roboticist Dr. Kane, who used X's schematics to build a series of new generation robots called Reploids. As well, there's a villain-turned-better hero robot called Zero, who eventually joined up with X in a group called the Maverick Hunters, who fight robots that have gone berserk or haywire. Of that, the leading commander of the Maverick Hunters is Sigma, and he hits the "Oops, I'm the bad guy" button, and leads a big army to try and conquer the world. Hate to see it, don't you? You just hate to see it. Can X and Zero stop him from succeeding? It's a simple plot with a hefty backstory, which helps please both groups of I want to play the game and I must know everything before I play a game. Because of that satisfaction, there's some cutscenes to help keep some meat on both of those players' bones. So yeah, you'll find the presentation and story progression in this to be great. All the characters are solid too. Vile is a rival-like character who, like all great people, causes problems on purpose. Zero is a good role model character for X and helps inspire you, that's right, you, and X to do better. Sigma isn't one-dimensional, as he's not only doing this for fun, but to see what X's limitless potential is. It's a crazy burning curiosity, kinda like you watching this video and hoping I start actually talking about the game. Okay, let's talk about it then. Gameplay thankfully remains unaltered from the original. X can jump and shoot, can take hits, grab items like health restoration, item restoration, and lives. If you run out of lives, you're booted back to the title screen. If it's in the intro stage, you're booted back to the main stage select once you pass the intro stage. Which is another great example of lives and why people who hate them are bad at video games. X can even charge up his shots before firing to do even more damage and cover more range. New to this as well is the ability to climb up walls by jumping off of them and sliding down them too. This mechanic leads to really insane platforming sections without floors that are really fun. Now this then begs the question, does Rockman X Complete Works add anything? No. No, it doesn't fucking add anything. Nothing. You can't even play as Zero. Great one-to-one port on the gameplay there, Capcom. Kinda hoping for something else there. This is the Complete Works, but whatever. Like all Mega Man games, defeating Mavericks lends X their powers, letting him use more abilities that are more dangerous but cost ammo. Favorites of mine being the Scrotum Annihilator called Storm Tornado. It rips enemies to shreds. I also love using others like Shotgun Ice for its ability to bounce off walls, and Fire Wave just to rip through enemies. Boomerang Cutter is also a very interesting one as it goes and grabs things for you and brings them back to you, which is very helpful, surprisingly enough. You can even charge up these weapons once you have the upgrade. Right, the upgrades! Unlike traditional Mega Man, X can find armor parts lying around to make him dash to increase his speed and break blocks with his legs, to make him take half the damage from everything, make him headbutt blocks. Yeah, that's really it on that one. And lastly, charge his Buster to a 4th stage and charge special weapons. It's also really nice that they just straight up give you the leg parts to encourage you to find the other 3. These armor parts also change X's appearance and make him look bolder and pointier. There's also heart tanks to increase your health, and sub-tanks that are empty soda cans that fill up when you grab life energy when you have full health, which is genius. Seriously, portable health refillers are genius. Speaking of genius, this is one of the games that has some of the more insane level design. Oh, but before we get to that, what did X Completeworks add? Nothing. Next! So one of the greatest things about Mega Man X is just how much more mobile X is, being able to wall jump, dash, and make gaps both farther and higher than the original Mega Man, especially without having to go into a menu and switch to Rush and all that other fun stuff that took a lot more time, is proof that X is a lot more limitless. You have levels that are very vertical or have large jumps that X can very easily make. As well, some bosses take advantage of X's new abilities, like having him wall jump or slide to actually hit them. This game also features sloped geometry. You don't move any faster or slower walking down or up them, so they're just a nice feature. But they are used sometimes, like X riding on minecarts at light speed and smacking into walls and shit, and whew, fuck, that's a really good feeling! There's also the fact that beating some stages alter other ones. Sting Chameleon's stage gets water once you beat Launch Octopus. And Spark Mandrill's fucking falls apart when you beat Storm Eagle because his fucking ship is falling out of the sky and crashes in his stage. Little, oopsie-daisy on X's part for that one. There's still not a single X game that replicates this feature properly, and it's a big fat shame. The other thing that this game does is dynamically adjust the camera to tell you when the bottom of the screen changes. So when there's a new bottom, the camera will move down. If there's not, the camera stays, and you know that if you go any further, you're dead, barring exceptions. This leads into the added things from Rockman X Completeworks. Oh wait, nothing here too. Yeah, 1-to-1 again of all the levels, since the levels were so perfect in X to begin with. Well, here you go again. Honestly, the more I talk about this, I'm wondering if there's any changes that this game actually did. Well, I think the easiest cat to get out of the bag is that this game is just plain odd with how it does things. It wants to try to add FMVs and stuff to the game, but it just doesn't work. This game doesn't run on some crazy emotion or imagine engine like the much more interesting Sonic 2 Special Edition, but instead has static video clips that play, and fucking hell they are odd. Like here's one. Sometimes the lights flicker in Spark Mandrill's stage just like the original, but they flash a little more frequently. You can also hear a phone in the background sometimes, and fighting Flame Mammoth, the walls start to ooze green slime. Wait, no, they always did that. But I think the dumbest thing is Capcom shoving their licenses in everything they obtained just because they had no idea what to do with them. Like the real kicker, fucking MC Scat Cat. Why do you have this license? Why is it in the game? Why do I have to watch Paula Abdul's wonderful Opposites Attract music video when fighting Chill Penguin? They just did that. I also noticed that he keeps showing up in later parts of the game, usually when the second effect for stages kicks in. But if you think that's bad, the later stages of the game just get fucking creepy. Like Sigma Castle Stage 4, the background is the walking animation from Suicide Mouse. I get that Capcom still had the Disney license, but what the fuck are you... What is that? I'm serious, I replayed this multiple times, hoping it's not Suicide Mouse, but it is every time. Sometimes the palette and physics for this game change tremendously too. You need to have good luck to make sure you have a good combo of gravity to make it to the top of Sigma Stage 1. I don't understand how this happens, but there's really odd palette glitches that just throw everything out of whack. Of that whack, enemies and bosses appear the same, but no, they are different in an odd way. Enemies are exactly the same, no matter what, except one, which is different. The Bad and Armored Armadillo stage is the same, but every time you shoot it, the game gets more and more corrupt. It's kinda creepy, but at the same time funny. The bosses themselves, though, still behave like they do in the original. Nice AI with cool fights. Final boss is still a bit of a difficulty spike, though. Not like the Suicide Mouse beforehand helps any. They're mostly the same, but with the added exception is that every single boss chamber has a different video playing in it. Why did Capcom do this? I don't know. I think it's insane that they blatantly advertise their own games during the fights, which is extra distracting. So this leads into the graphics. How does this game look? Well, it's exactly the same besides the crazy palette glitches. The game itself doesn't even add any extra horsepower to the performance. Armored Armadillo's stage, despite being on better hardware, still has slowdown problems. That's so odd that the Rockman Complete Works gets actual improvements, but so far this is just a creepier ROM hack. Of that, the FMVs are beautiful. They looked like they were ripped straight from a 1080p upload on YouTube and downloaded without anyone knowing about it. The seamless blend of game and video is also something I haven't seen executed too well on PS1. Unfortunately, with that weird palette shifting bug and just general unfinished gameplay— oh, wait, wrong footage. Yeah, that unfinished with crazy glitches and corruption, it just seems like quite the messy game to get working. In the same scope, the audio for this game is definitely all over the place. There's tons of remixed tracks in this game, however, most of the remixes are just old classic Mega Man songs, instead of remixing the original game's wonderful score. Oddly enough, lots of the OST is fitting for the locale, like Rockman's stage is used for Boomer Kawangers, which features climbing up a big tower. It also features a remix of Brightman from Rockman 4 Complete Works for Spark Mandrill. Crazy stuff, really. But I find it a little lazy that they didn't remix the Sigma stages, except for Stage 3, which is just television static. Yeah. The sound effects are exactly the same as the Super Nintendo original, which also kinda sucks because it would have been cool if X had the Buster sounds that they used in X3's CD port. But they didn't. Honestly, the whole game feels pretty lazy with the sound overall, but the music choices are pretty great even if they're not the original soundtrack. So, that's all of the game. But you know what? This is my part where I get to talk about changes to this game if I was set in charge. Well, firstly, Suicide Mouse playing in the background of Sigma Stage 4, that's a bit rough. After thinking about it, it would be much better after Zero's death. It would at least replace a MC Scat Cat music video. Also, the minor story changes like Vile being exceptionally racist, while a welcome addition should have not really have been added. The audio is still making me scratch my head. Why not remix the X Games OSTs? Well, it doesn't really matter why they didn't do it, but actual remixes of the DOS version of Mega Man X would have been amazing. Not sure why Capcom skimped out on that. That crazy corruption glitch too is just plain annoying. Like, at least let all the other bat enemies corrupt the game. You can easily get away with it too, it'll be an aesthetically pleasing game at the very least. Overall, I can't think of too much else, so I guess I'm done. Well, that's Rockman X Complete Works. I don't really understand Capcom's mentality making this. On one hand, great to see a console with every X game on it, at the time. On the other, they just completely fucked it up. If you really went out of your way to hunt for this like I did on Yahoo JP Auctions, it's gonna suck dick. Don't bother. Of course, if you want to play something that's not actual nightmare fuel, you can check out my games. Necrolepsy, an action platformer on Steam in a similar vein to Mega Man X with a demo to boot, and Draco Blood, an action RPG I'm funding via Patreon that has some demos for you to try out as well. So, Rockman X Complete Works. Not worth your time. You'd probably have a better time just playing the original. Rockman X Complete Works would be a much better game to watch someone else play as opposed to actually playing it, because as interesting as it is, playing it, ooh, that's suffering material. And sub-tanks that are empty. I see.